Hello everyone, I'm Brofi1322 and welcome to another GTA discussion video where I just want to do a quick follow-up on the previous episode in this series where I talked about the vehicle classification issues and asked for your guys' support to help us get Rockstar's attention about these issues and hopefully get things fixed. I'm recording this a few days after that has happened, but it'll also be a few days before this video actually goes up. But at this point, you know, things have settled down a little bit, so I don't really expect too much to change. Now, first of all, what I want to say is thank you so much for the support on that. You know, you guys really showed that the GTA racing community does have a significant voice, and we do get very frustrated when things like this happen. I think a lot of us have this frustration a lot of the time, that it feels like we have to work so much harder to get Rockstar to pay attention to these issues, because ultimately they probably just don't understand where we're coming from. You know, unless you're racing to a reasonably high level in GTA, you're not going to be understanding some of these nuances to do with car performance. And the support that you guys showed on that post and upvoting it and clicking the links and doing all that stuff has showed that, you know, we do have a voice and we are frustrated and we really want to see some changes. To put it into perspective, about 10,000 of you watched that video, around 4,000 clicked the link to take you to the forum post, and then as of recording this right now, about 1,300 people upvoted that post on the forums, which is actually a great percentage considering the amount of people watching the video. Normally you get, you know, a significant drop off to people clicking links and taking action when you ask for these sorts of things, but to get more than 1,300 and probably coming up to 1,400 upvotes on that post is absolutely incredible and shows fantastic support, and I really want to thank you guys for that. Basically what you've done is made that the highest voted topic on the Rockstar support forums for GTA Online that there has ever been, and that is absolutely incredible. Also, in addition to that, I also left a few links and mentioned the Racing DLC forum post as well. Just as a sort of an aside, you didn't have to go and click that, but some of you did, and you made that get over 1,000 upvotes. So that is now the second the highest upvoted topic on the entire Rockstar support forums. So basically, the two most upvoted topics on that support forum page were written by myself and involve the racing community to do with vehicle car classifications and a racing DLC idea in general. So, you know, incredible support from you guys, and it really does show that there's a lot of people out there who really do enjoy their racing on GTA and want to see it at least fixed in certain circumstances. So, do I personally think that we're ever going to see anything come from this? Honestly, I don't know. You know, when it comes to a racing DLC, as I mentioned in that previous video, I don't see anything happening with respect to that, despite all of the support that we show for it. You know, I just don't see anything happening with that. But do I think that they're ever going to change the car classes? Or change the, you know, take into account the suggestions that I posted, like removing the spare tyre traction bonus on the back of the Sterling GT? I'm not sure. You know, I really don't know. And the reason that I say that is because there was a comment left on that video from someone called John Gotts. Now, he says that he's a programmer of, you know, 25 plus years in the field, and he makes a very interesting point that I want to read out in this video. Thanks to him for leaving this comment, because it kind of shows that duality of, you've got programmers on one side and then the people who make the decisions essentially on the other side. So I'll read it out and you know, you guys can see what you think about it. So he basically says that, speaking as a programmer of 25 years in the field, your entire list of changes appeals to me. Unfortunately, programmers at large companies are subject to multiple levels of management. Managers don't like to change software that works no matter how screwy it is. It's called a known good configuration. Breaking a known good configuration is risky and expensive, and there will always be people you piss off who are used to having it the old way. When this happens, you have to think about creating a configuration setting to toggle the old and new behaviour. This is where the expense comes in. That's why for most software you only see bug fixes and new features. Once a feature is created, there's a bureaucratic unwillingness to change it unless there's a bug. It was hard enough to get it working in the first place, and once it's working, nobody wants to fiddle with it. So that's the life of a programmer. You always want to make things better, but unless you're fixing an outright bug, that's a no-no. New features are fair game because there is no customer expectation yet. What your ideas can really do is help with GTA 6. When there is not any customer expectation for any feature, when you're writing things from scratch, you have a much more freedom to take input from interested third parties without pressure from management. So that shows a really interesting side to it that, you know, I've mentioned this before about how I believe that, you know, the people programming the vehicles and the cars in the game and all that kind of stuff, they're not idiots. They know how to balance the vehicles well. Maybe not in the early stages, but once they realise there's this racing community out there and they want certain things, they've done pretty good jobs with that, especially at the top of the supercars class, which is something that I always cite for something like that. But if small mistakes creep in, like the rear tyre on the rear tyre on the back of the Sterling GT, putting the shafters in the wrong class, something like that, if things like that creep in to a management level, that is not game breaking. You know, that's not a bug. It's not an actual bug in the game. The game works with those features in. From a programmer perspective, they might be able to see, yes, that was a mistake, we would like to change it, but because it's not actually a problem causing the game to be unplayable or whatever, there's that unwillingness from a management level or a higher up level, the people who maybe make the decisions, they don't want to go back and revisit that and change it at all. So that, you know, that shows why sometimes we probably don't see changes that we think we should have seen or we would like to see. And I just thought that was an interesting point to consider, that, you know, that's why I'm not entirely sure we may ever see anything different. But hopefully all of this, you know, obviously I would hope that we do see changes and these things are taken into account. But if we don't, hopefully everything that we're talking about and all the things that we're pushing and all that kind of stuff will go into the thoughts for the next game. I hesitate to talk about GTA 6 because obviously there's a lot of controversy about YouTubers talking about this far too much. You know, there's no idea when that's going to arrive, and it's probably going to be plenty of years down the line, so there's no reason to talk about it now. But, you know, all of the effort that we're putting in now could pay dividends later on in future games to make the racing experience on those games that much better, even if it isn't helping us right now because they don't want to change these things. So, you know, I'll always be trying to do this. I'll always be trying to bring light to certain issues, whether they're game breaking or just things that we would want to see from a racing perspective, because you never know where it's going to lead, and hopefully we'll just get better experiences for it. You know, there's no point in just rolling over and accepting it. On that point, you know, there was a few comments before you guys all went to that forum post. There was a few comments from people who aren't necessarily within our community who said, and they were meant to be sort of helpful forum members, that said, send your suggestions to gtaonline@rockstargames.com. Now, I also did actually put that link in the description as well to get you guys to do that as well. And a lot of you did, which is great. But the sort of, they tried to shut down the idea before it even got started. And it just didn't strike me as helpful in any way possible. And one of them was something like, you know, try to send short ideas. Big essays aren't really going to have any effect. And, you know, and my response to that was basically, well, yeah, okay, I'll just say, oh, well, this car shouldn't be in this class, it needs to be in that class. Okay, that's a short point, but there's no backup to that. You know, what reason am I giving people to actually need to change that? So, you know, the ignorance of some people does strike me sometimes. And, you know, the support forums, Rockstar support forums, may not necessarily be the place where the devs will necessarily see it all the time. You know, they're not going to scour those forums like they may do with the email address, but, you know, whatever comes from the email address anyway. But we've shown in the past that support forum is the way to get things noticed. If, you know, things get passed on, and certainly the support that you guys have shown on these posts, they're not going to go unnoticed. The community team will see it. Things will get passed on up, you know, in different areas of Rockstar, and hopefully we'll see some changes like that. But, you know, I'm not going to just delete the post and tell everybody to send it to the email address. You know, we've got to get it out there as much as possible so that people realize how important these issues are to a certain section of the GTA community. So I just wanted to quickly touch on that. And I think that's about it for this video. You know, we tried our best. We tried our best to explain what we felt was wrong with the game and what we felt was wrong with the cars and the racing experience, and we can't do any more than that. Whether anything comes from it or not is completely out of our hands, but we've done as much as we can do, and I really want to thank you guys for being part of that and helping that happen, because obviously without you guys the post wouldn't have gone anywhere, and nothing would have been done anyway. So we're no worse off than what we were when we started. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say, just a little bit of a follow-up on all of those issues. Let me know all your thoughts down below. You know, do you think we'll actually see any changes? We'll be back to normal service will be resumed in the next GTA discussion video, I'm sure. But yeah, let me know all your thoughts down below, and what you thought about the post itself and all that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for watching, I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.